All right, so strand 2, this is domains of development. So your central question for 2.1 is list 3 domains of development and give an example of how they might vary between children due to cultural experiences or individual differences. So go ahead, pause the video, find the box that says 2.1 essential question or processing questions. You're going to write this in that essential question box. Go ahead, pause, and then come back when you are ready to go. All right. So, Standard 2.1 says that students will define child development and the domains of development. So, child development is the process by which a child changes or remains stable over time. So, we're looking at both things that change, but things that are also stable. And it's looking at it over time. A domain means an area of control or knowledge. So there are 3 domains that we talk about. We have biological and physical, we have cognitive and intellectual, and we have social and emotional. Okay, those are the 3 different domains that we talk about. So, I want you to list 3 to 5 examples of each area of development in your notes as you watch this video.
The objective of this video is to describe the 3 domains of development: physical, cognitive, and psychosocial. Lifespan development covers how humans change or stay consistent from womb to tomb or from conception to death. Human growth is multidimensional, including how our bodies, minds, and relationships change and interact throughout our lives. Let's start with the physical domain, sometimes called the biological or biosocial domain. It focuses on our overall physical growth, like height and weight, our motor skills and abilities, dietary issues and nutrition, our senses and sensory information, any propensities for diseases or illnesses, our sleep and waking patterns, and the brain, nervous system development, and genetics. The physical, biological, or biosocial domain is just one piece of development. The next domain is cognitive. The cognitive domain focuses on how we think and process information, what we pay attention to, and what we remember. The cognitive domain is interested in intelligence, problem solving, and language. It also includes our thoughts about right and wrong, and our moral development. The cognitive domain includes all these elements of the inner workings of our minds. The last domain is psychosocial. It represents...
So I'm going to pause. Psychosocial is another word for social and emotional. So that's the other piece. We call it social and emotional. You'll sometimes hear it called psychosocial. So just be aware of that.
Our psychological and social lives. It's concerned with our self-perceptions, identity, and emotional development. Social influences include our families, our friends and others around us, and our cultures. Together, these psychological and social aspects make up the psychosocial domain. Although we cover each domain separately, it's important to remember they're all connected and constantly interact throughout development. Thank you.
Whoa. I just made myself grow. That's crazy. Okay, so hopefully you got 3 to 5 things for each area of development. So you should have written 3 to 5 things in each one of those areas, in each one of those circles that's in your notes. If not, go back and rewatch it again. All right, so you should have 3 to 5 things in each one of these areas, right? And realize that all domains of child development are important. Each domain both supports and is supported by the others. So they support each other, but they also are supported by the other ones, right? All right, so some things to think about is that generalizations of developmental stages can be identified, but variations of cultural experiences and individual differences must be considered. So this basically means that in general, we can follow a developmental stage. Like we can say, hey, usually the baby learns how to lift up their head, then they roll over, then they, and we can go down a list of things that babies usually are able to do. And those are important, but it's also like important to think about and realize that sometimes those things are different between cultures, but also sometimes they're individual differences, right? So, those are some things to think about as well. All right, so I want you to be thinking about that as you watch this trailer for a documentary about why or how do you think these babies may vary in their development?
Everything is lost. But I know that you can take it to the Lord. Everything you want. Is it all that you can gather for yourself? Do you love a lot? Is that love that Jesus gives to everyone? Is it strange or deeper that you hate yourself? Everything is lost. Still I know that you can take it to the Lord.
All right, so hopefully in that you saw some things that were similar between those 4 different babies that were born in 4 different places, 4 different cultures. But you also might have seen some differences, right? So, all right. So just keep in mind that development may vary due to cultural experience and individual differences, right? Everybody's different. We all have different things that we're going through and dealing with. Um, and like even here, right, at Cyprus, we have multiple different cultures, like a lot of different cultures, right? So even though people may live in the same area, like cultures are still very different. Okay. So just keep those things in mind. All right. That's it for 2.1. You are going to work on your project now.